Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Saturday, April 17, 2021. Deutsche Welle report. Belarus. 2 men accused of planning coup arrested in Moscow. Russian authorities on Saturday announced they had arrested 2 men in Moscow for allegedly planning a coup in Belarus. The 2 Belarusian men, Yuri Zienkovich and Alexander Feduta, were allegedly planning to carry out the coup attempt in Minsk on May 9, a day when Belarus celebrates victory over the Nazis. Russia's principal security agency, the FSB, said the men sought to carry out an assassination of Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko.
Fox report. NYPD officers hit with Molotov cocktail and liquid chemical in face, police say. A motorist hurled a Molotov cocktail at New York City police officers Saturday morning and doused another in the face with a liquid chemical during separate incidents, authorities said. The NYPD told Fox News that officers in Brooklyn attempted to pull over a 2000 Lincoln Town car being driven by a 44-year-old man just before 8 a.m. When the man stopped, he threw an unknown liquid chemical at one officer's face and fled in the vehicle, police said.
Al Jazeera report. Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny could die at any moment. Doctor. A doctor for imprisoned Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who is in the 3rd week of a hunger strike, has said his health is deteriorating rapidly and the 44-year-old Kremlin critic could be on the verge of death. Physician Yaroslav Ashikman said on Saturday that test results he received from Navalny's family show him with sharply elevated levels of potassium, which can bring on cardiac arrest, and heightened creatinine levels that indicate impaired kidneys.
Fox report. Royal Caribbean sends ships to St. Vincent to assist with evacuations amid La Soufriere eruption. Royal Caribbean continued its evacuation efforts Saturday, one day after the island of St. Vincent was rocked by another volcanic eruption. Since the initial eruption on April 9, authorities have worked to clear the Caribbean island and contain the damage. Some 20,000 people have fled to the northern end of the island for shelter. La Soufriere, the volcano, has erupted only a handful of times. Experts have compared the current cycle to one from 1902, during which eruptions continued for months.
BBC report. Iran nuclear. State TV names suspect in Natanz attack. Reza Karimi fled Iran shortly before the blast, Network One said, showing a man's photo on what it said was an Interpol wanted poster. Interpol said it could not confirm that Mr. Karimi was on its red list of wanted fugitives. Iran has blamed Israel for the attack and stepped up its nuclear activities. Israel has neither confirmed nor denied involvement, but Israel Public Radio cited intelligence sources as saying it was a Mossad cyber operation.
CNN report. Myanmar releases prisoners for New Year, though likely not dissidents. Authorities in Myanmar will release 23,184 prisoners from jails across the country on Saturday under a New Year amnesty, a Prisons Department spokesman said, but few, if any, democracy activists arrested since the February 1 coup are expected to be among them. Saturday is the first day of the traditional New Year in Myanmar and the last day of a 5-day holiday usually celebrated with visits to Buddhist temples and rowdy water throwing and partying in the streets.
CNN report. Portland police disperse crowd with pepper spray following fatal officer-involved shooting. Police in Portland, Oregon, said they used pepper spray and smoke canisters to break up a crowd that gathered on Friday as they investigated the fatal shooting of a suspect by police in Lents Park. A suspect who has only been described as a white male was fatally shot in the morning by an officer responding to a report that a man was pointing a gun in the park, the Portland Police Bureau, PPB, said in a news release.
Deutsche Welle report. Italy. Matteo Salvini faces trial on kidnapping charge. An Italian judge on Saturday ordered former Interior Minister Matteo Salvini stand trial for refusing to let a migrant rescue ship dock at a Sicilian port in 2019, leaving 147 people stranded at sea. Judge Lorenzo Iannelli set September 15 as the trial date after a hearing in Palermo. Salvini confirmed the outcome and insisted he was only performing his duty as a proud Italian by refusing entry to the open arms rescue ship.
Al Jazeera report. Canada's top court could be asked to rule if U.S. safe for refugees. Montreal, Canada. It was early April 2017 when Nadira Mustafa, an Ethiopian woman who had lived in the United States since childhood but did not hold immigration status, reached the Canadian border in search of protection. After 30 hours of interrogation, Canadian officials turned her back, pointing to an agreement between the two neighboring nations that allows Canada to summarily return most asylum seekers who arrive at its border from the U.S.
BBC report. Philippines. Giant clamshells worth $25 million seized in raid. The seizure is one of the largest ever hauls of the endangered species. 4 suspects have been arrested on an island in the ecologically protected province of Palawan. Giant clams can grow larger than 1 meter across, and weigh up to 250 kilograms. They are seen as vital to the local marine ecosystem. The Philippines is home to most of the world's giant tropical clam species. Jovich Fabello, spokesman for the Palawan Council for Sustainable Development, said that the seized shells included Tridacna gigas, the world's largest clam.
BBC report. COVID-19 deaths pass 3 million worldwide. The milestone comes the day after the head of the World Health Organization, WHO, warned the world was approaching the highest rate of infection so far. India, experiencing a second wave, recorded more than 230,000 new cases on Saturday alone. Almost 140 million cases have been recorded since the pandemic began. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned on Friday that cases and deaths are continuing to increase at worrying rates.
Deutsche Welle report. Prince Philip laid to rest at Windsor Castle funeral. Mourners gathered to remember Prince Philip at a funeral on Saturday inside the Windsor Castle St. George's Chapel. Prince Philip's coffin, draped in his personal standard and topped with a wreath of flowers, was carried by a group of royal guards into the quadrangle of Windsor Castle. Prince Charles and Prince Anne and other senior royals then led a procession behind his coffin, which was transported by a modified Land Rover hearse to St.
Fox report. California group files federal civil rights complaint over San Diego school district's racist teachings. A collection of California nonprofits filed a civil rights complaint last week alleging discrimination against San Diego's largest public school district over its embrace of the controversial critical race theory. The Californians for Equal Rights Foundation, one of 6 organizations involved in the filing, announced the move on its website. The complainants allege that the San Diego Unified School District is involved in unlawful racial discrimination in the teacher and staff training process.
CNN report. Brazil asks women, if possible, to delay pregnancy over COVID variants. Brazil has warned women to postpone pregnancy until the worst of the coronavirus pandemic has passed, saying that the variants of the coronavirus in Brazil have been more aggressive in pregnant women. If possible, the women should postpone the pregnancy a bit to a better time so that they can have a more peaceful pregnancy. Secretary of Primary Healthcare of the Brazilian Health Ministry Rafael Camara said Friday.
CNN report. How a thunderstorm with the power of a hurricane capsized a ship. 19 people were on board a commercial ship when it capsized Tuesday during a thunderstorm off the Louisiana coast. But this was no ordinary storm. It's been a crazy day meteorologically with very impactful winds from both a line of thunderstorms and a long-duration strong wind event due to a wake low, the National Weather Service office in New Orleans said on Tuesday night. A stationary front positioned across the southeast led to a large cluster of thunderstorms moving across Louisiana and other Gulf Coast states on Tuesday.
Al Jazeera report. Bolsonaro-Biden deal to protect the Amazon stalls amid pressure. São Paulo, Brazil. Brazil's government wants billions of dollars up front from the United States and other wealthy nations to protect its Amazon rainforest, a crucial natural bulwark in the fight against climate change. But indigenous leaders, climate activists and a group of U.S. Democratic senators have warned U.S. President Joe Biden not to hand over any cash to the government of Jair Bolsonaro, Brazil's far-right populist president, under whom deforestation has soared.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.